Mitchell Renz, Tom Downey, you're watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports, and we're going to be breaking down the latest going on around Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. This is what Adam Schefter had to say just a few minutes ago. The Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson is expected to meet in the next 48 hours with the Carolina Panthers and New Orleans Saints, amongst other teams per league sources. Watson wants to meet with them just as they want to meet with him before trade talks ramp up. So, Tom, walk us through the latest going on with Watson, everything that's happened maybe over the last 24 hours, and what we can expect going forward.
So the news on Friday was that the grand jury did not indict Watson on any of the charges. That clears the way for Watson to return to the NFL and then, of course, be traded. So the trade talks are beginning to heat up. I think a trade happens soon. I think that the team acquiring Watson would like to have him by the new league year to make things easier from their salary cap and roster management perspective. The reason why Watson is going to meet with teams and why Houston is okay with this is because of the fact that Watson has a no-trade clause. So there have been whispers that Watson doesn't want to go to Philadelphia, for example. But the Panthers and, of course, the Saints, meanwhile, here, they make sense, I think, for both parties. Deshaun, of course, played at Clemson, and Houston would love to get him out of the AFC because it's not like they want to get rid of him. It's that Deshaun doesn't want to be a member of the organization any longer. The cost, once Watson and Houston agree on the destination, I would assume, Mitch, ends up coming in just as much, if not more, than the Russell Wilson trade cost of what the Denver Broncos gave up to acquire him. Yes, Watson hasn't played football in a year, which I think we should probably do a better job of mentioning more often. It's a long time not really play any football. And, you know, when he was at camp, he was the scout team safety, as weird as that sounds. So there is going to be a lot of interest in Deshaun Watson. But his no-trade clause, I think, does eliminate some of the contenders, such as maybe Philadelphia and maybe Indy, if that report is correct about, you know, Watson not wanting to play with the Eagles.
I mean, when I think about Deshaun Watson, you know, there's going to be a lot of teams interested in him, and I've heard multiple people say, well, he hasn't played in a long time. And I get the fact that there was one time where Watson, you know, tore his ACL. He didn't play for a stretch. It wasn't as long as a year, but he came right back, and it was almost like riding the bike. He just lit the world back on fire. When you talk about a player who led the NFL in passing yards, and with over 4,800 the year before that, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, had over 429 rushing yards, was able to pick up 30 first downs with his legs. I mean, there's a few list of quarterbacks under the age of 26. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson. We saw that Mahomes and we saw that Josh Allen playoff game. If you can get a quarterback like Deshaun, you should absolutely go ahead and do it. At least that's what I personally believe. So here's your opportunity, y'all, to go down in the comment section right now, and I want you to look into your crystal balls and let me know who will trade for Deshaun Watson. Sorry, Tom, it's going to be that type of day. Who's going to end up making the deal? Could it be somebody like New Orleans? Is it going to be a team like the Carolina Panthers? Could it be another team that was not mentioned in that tweet by Adam Schefter? I'm putting you on the spot. The team that I believe goes ahead and makes the move is the Carolina Panthers, and that's actually the team that I said last year. Are you going to go with me on Carolina, or are you going to go with a different route?
I think I'll go a different route there.
You're going to go a different route? Okay. Who's going to end up trading for Deshaun Watson? Could it be this team that we're about to be breaking down right here, the New Orleans Saints? And I actually talked about this a little bit yesterday because a lot of people were like, oh, the Saints, they can't make that move because of the salary cap implications of minus $6.37 million. However, literally, Ian Rappaport responded with that tweet and said, New Orleans can make it happen. I always find it every single year kind of makes me giggle a little bit when you talk about free agency. You talk about some of these big-time players, and New Orleans has always been the team where, all right, they're in salary cap hell in February. They make a few adjustments, and then they're able to go ahead and make some moves happen. If the Saints, if any NFL team wants to go out and sign a player, or if they want to go out and make a trade, you can move money around. And this team right now, their biggest need is quarterback. We saw Ian Book. That's the only book that I promise you I never want to read again. Guaranteed. The quarterback situation was a disgrace. This team was 5-2 with Jameis Winston. You're telling me right now they couldn't be an NFL Super Bowl caliber team with Deshaun Watson on that defense? I believe so, and for that reason, if you have a chance, New Orleans, you got to do it.
Yeah, I think the move you always make is if you don't have a QB, you do everything in your power to find that next QB.
But we have Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's not a quarterback. He's an athlete there. You see the Saints are $6 million over the salary cap. You could trade for Deshaun Watson, even though he's got a $35 million cap hit right now.
Yep.
You can restructure that deal the second you trade for him. He can count under 10 on his cap this upcoming year. So the money's not really that big of a problem. It's, can the Saints put together a package that intrigues the Houston Texans enough in the event Deshaun says, hey, I'll take one of these 3 teams, I'll be happy there, or 2 teams, whatever. Can they outbid Carolina, who has no second-round pick but has a higher first-round pick? So that's the back and forth the Saints got to figure out. But if you can get Deshaun Watson, you figure out the rest of the roster later.
Well, if the Saints go ahead and make a move, and if there's any Saints fans watching right now, major shout-out to y'all. I know you like to get down. Help our Saints channel go ahead and grow. Let's get to 5,000 subs. We just crossed 4,000. You can go ahead and subscribe to our Saints-only channel, youtube.com/Saints Today, whether it's news, rumors, fun segments like free agency targets, trade targets. Who knows? Maybe we'll even throw out something like the top blockbuster deals that New Orleans can go ahead and do to go out and get Deshaun Watson. If you're a part of that Who Dat Nation, go ahead and subscribe to the link that you see below. So as it stands right now, you got some Saints offseason plans, Tom. Do you believe that it starts at quarterback and then they go from there?
Yeah, that's their number one need. So I think from that perspective, you're certainly looking for a way to find that impact guy and take care of that position long term. It's, Jameis was a free agent after all. Can't forget that
Probably
either.
Top quarterback free agent.
Beyond QB, which of course is number one, and I will make note that the Texans still want at least 3 first-round picks plus other stuff, which, hey, you trade 17 and other firsts next year that'll probably be in the 20s in the end. You got to figure out the offensive tackle spot situation. Is Teron Armstead's a free agent? I don't think he's back.
I don't think so.
Injuries are also a big red flag for him in terms of free agency. That leaves James Hurst, Landon Young. Like it's survivable, but it's not ideal
probably
necessarily.
Also a lot better than what Watson's been dealing with.
Maybe you want another wide receiver. Maybe you bring back Kenny Stills. You're not in with Deshaun Watson. Just the thought there, and safety also a big area. But the Saints, in terms of acquiring Watson, the main focus there, Mitch, the team that most heavily linked, of course, is Carolina.
And that's the other thing. You got 2 teams in the same division, and now the fact that Tom Brady just came out of retirement, that obviously makes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a lot more competitive. And if you're Carolina and it's a race between New Orleans and the Panthers, I feel like both of these teams might be a little bit more willing to give up a little bit extra because they might feel like, well, crap. If we don't get him, he's going to end up going to a division rival. We got to play him 2 times a year, and I think that would be the last thing that a team like Carolina would want with him going to New Orleans. Now, obviously, they do have a little bit more money in salary cap space. Whatever team decides to bring on Watson, technically his contract as it stands right now is 4 years, $136 million, and I believe the breakdown's 32, 37, 35, 35, average of $34 million per year. But like Tom mentioned, you can go ahead and you can move some of that money around a little bit. So let's play a little game here, right? You want to play a game? Deshaun Watson is a top blank NFL quarterback. Is he a top 3? Is he a top 4, 5, 10, 20? Go ahead, let me know Deshaun Watson is a top blank NFL quarterback when he's out there on the field. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say top 6 because I would confidently put him in the top 6. What number would you be?
Top 7, 8, somewhere
7
in
and
that
8?
range. Like I think if you want to go like the tier style, you've got your just freaks, the Patrick Mahomeses, Aaron Rodgers. I guess we got to put Tom Brady now back in that conversation again. Josh Allen too, and then he's in your second tier of like
Russell
this is your franchise guy. I think Wilson's in that franchise tier. I think you can probably throw Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, etc. in that franchise tier of like if you have him, you should feel great about your organization, and you should just, build around that QB and figure out the rest of the stuff later. And if you don't win, it's probably your organization's fault, not your QB's fault.
We're live here on Chat Sports, breaking down everything going on around NFL free agency. And I feel like every year with free agency, there's also some juicy trades that end up going down. I still remember the day that our boss, Brett, with the whole DeAndre Hopkins trade went down. I thought he was about to have his 4th kid. That's really the type of news that I thought was about to happen. And if you love the NFL and if you want to stay up to date with everything going on nonstop, go ahead, subscribe to Chat Sports, click that big red button, and turn on those notifications. That way you don't miss a thing.